gas for Edmonton. Bouchard's pass didn't click with Draisaitl. 12 seconds to go. Florida trying to end it up against the wall, which would be fitting. 3 seconds to go. The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. For the first time in their 30-year history, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. They made it about as hard on themselves as they possibly could, battling a valiant Edmonton team that had rallied from adversity all season long. And Paul Maurice, coaching lifer, 30 years in the National Hockey League, has his Stanley Cup.
What the puck is going on?
This is What the Puck is going on for Monday night, December the 2nd, 2024. I am Stephen Murray, and the host of the show tonight, Nephew Dave, joining us on the phone from his Ocean View studios in Norfolk, Virginia. What's up, Dave?
Steve, how you doing this evening?
Doing well.
All right, let's get right into it. We got us a short slate tonight, but maybe we can find a little bit, and then we'll go over the standings here to start. So let's do that, Steve. We'll start in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division. Florida leading that division with 31 points. Second place, Toronto with 30, and then Boston catapulting back up with 27 points there. There's your top three in the Atlantic. Following them, Tampa Bay with 26, Buffalo with 24. There they are, still hanging around. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about them. Detroit with 23. They're trying to, show that they belong too. Ottawa with 22 and Montreal with 19. So does anything stick out to you there in the Atlantic? I know we've had some movement since the last time we talked.
Not really. Well, Florida, interesting. I mean, they've won 3 in a row now, but just 4-6 in their last 10. Toronto's been the streaking hot team here, 8-2. And then everyone else, for the most part, besides Boston's on some sort of a losing streak. Tampa's only lost 1 in a row. But the Sabres, you just mentioned them, they've lost 3 in a row. Detroit's lost a couple in a row. So have Ottawa and the Canadiens. But again, Dave, like you said, points-wise, I mean, just here at the beginning of December, 12 points separates top from the bottom here. So still plenty of time left to go. Even the bad teams, if they can just seek some sort of improvement here. Obviously, we expect, the obvious bad teams of recent years to continue to probably drop off. But for the most part, everyone is still pretty much in it, you would say.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. And if the two that come to mind right off the bat in that division there, Buffalo and Detroit can just string a couple together. They might find themselves in an even better spot.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, they are. I mean, without the overtime losses, I mean, they're basically 500 teams, and you do gain points in the overtime. If you are a loser, you still get the 1 point. But, right there around 500 still. So you can't say that they're playing the worst. In fact, Buffalo's surprised me in a couple of tickets going against them. They look good at times for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Steve, let's jump into the Metro. This is a pretty exciting division so far to start. Washington jumping back into first place with 35 points. Steve, they're on a bit of a heater. They're won 4 in a row so far here. New Jersey is in second place with 34 points. They're in action tonight. We'll talk about them. Carolina in third with 33 points. So there's your top 3 in the Metro. All right, New York with 27 points and Philly with 27 points, tied for the 4th spot. And how about Philadelphia bringing kind of a resurgence back from that bad start in the season there in the beginning? Columbus with 25 points, New York Islanders with 24 points, and then there's your last place, Pittsburgh Penguins. So, Steve, interesting stuff going on here. What do you take away here with the Metro? New Jersey losers the last time out. Carolina's now lost 2 in a row, but everybody else has a little bit of a win streak going.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Philadelphia, 7-2-1 and their last 10. Columbus as well. I mean, they're not necessarily one of those bottom feeders anymore. I mean, they're trying to play good competitive hockey, even in their losses. They seem to be very competitive. If they just get a little bit better on the road, then they might really be cooking here. And how about the Cavs? I mean, Ovechkin goes down. You think that they're going to probably take a step back. But Dave, I don't know how many times they've gone under their goal total for the years in their 24 games played. But I venture to say in at least 20 of these games, they've gone over their goal total for the game. So if you're betting the Cavs just team total goals, I mean, that's the best bet in sports right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I don't think it would be any more than 4 that they haven't hit their total. Steve, they are let me see here. I thought I had
9-2 on the road. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're bringing it all together right now, and that's a beautiful thing to see because, you know, not many people thought that was going to be the case so far.
101,
but it is.
Yeah, 101 goals scored too, Dave. So they're the first team to get over 100 goals scored on the season. I mean, to put that in perspective here, the worst teams are right around 58 goals. So they're not far from trying to double up teams like Nashville, Chicago, teams like that with the amount of goals that they've scored here. And yielding just 69, which is not the greatest, but still above average, you would say. I mean, there's still plenty of teams who've given up goals in the 70s, 80s, and 90s here. But the Caps just doing everything right. And Chitron is what a fantastic player they brought over from Ottawa.
Yeah, that is looking like a really great addition right now, and he seems to be taking the absolute most of that opportunity. So they did some really good things in the off season, and again, nobody thought that we'd be saying, here comes Washington as at this point in the season a very serious contender,
and still probably getting a good price on them at the end of the day for conference and Stanley Cup. Those numbers have slowly dwindled down. We'll get into that a little bit later when we take a look at things.
Absolutely. All right, Steve, let's jump over to the West. A division that has been interesting to us all along, the Central. Look at this. Minnesota is actually tied with Winnipeg for 1 and 2, but Winnipeg is slated here first in the division with 36 points. Winnipeg, 36 as well. Dallas with 30. There's your top 3. Following them is Colorado with 26, Utah with 24, St. Louis with 24 as well, trying to show that they belong maybe a little bit. Nashville, oh man, struggling. Did not see this coming from this team, but it's gonna take a serious turnaround from them. 20 points on the season so far, and Chicago brings up the rear in that division with 18 points. So, Steve, what about the Central?
Definitely more separation from top to bottom here. And you just mentioned the Nashville. Losers of 4 in a row now. And they just can't seem to get things right, like you said. You got to give a team like Utah credit for their first season there. The Coyotes of last year continue to trend upwards. They're playing right at 500 hockey if you discount the overtime losses for them. So they're basically a 500 team. And then Colorado just up and down for them, losers of 2 in a row. But Dallas surging nicely, like they tend to do here. All the difference in the world with them home and on the road, though. 10-2 at home, 5-6 on the road. The Jets finally come back to reality, like you said. We thought they might run away with this thing, but here they are, losers of 3 in a row. And the Wild, who do not score a lot of goals, but they don't allow a lot of goals either. Just a plus 19. They've only given up 58 goals on the season. That, I think, is the best right now. If I look at it, yeah, that's the best in the league. And they've been able to jump Winnipeg here. So a lot of credit to them. Winners of 3 in a row. And they're road warriors as well. How about that? 10-1-3 for the Wild on the road.
Yeah, their road record is incredible, Steve, and I think they're looking like a serious contender as well there in the Central. All right, into the Pacific we go. Vegas back on top with 33 points. LA has moved up as well. 31 points puts them in second place in that division. Vancouver in the third spot with 29. There's your top 3 in the Pacific. Following them is Edmonton with 28, so nipping on the heels of Vancouver. Calgary right behind them as well with 28 points. Anaheim with 23. Seattle with 23 as well. And Steve, the Sharks bringing up the rear with 23 as well. We're talking about a 10-point difference here. We're looking at a possible log jam here in the Pacific.
Yeah, and San Jose, they've been pouring goals into the net here. If you looked at some of their scores recently, probably catching some people off guard. If you've been playing against San Jose, you've been in a little bit of trouble here as they're 4-4-2 in their last 10, winners of 2 in a row. Seattle just clanking along, but they've lost 3 in a row. Calgary falling apart at the seams after their hot start. They've now lost 4 in a row. And you mentioned it, Edmonton getting healthy, streaking the right way here now. 7-2-1 in their last 10. And Vancouver is an interesting team to me still. Just 500 here, or 6-4. I mean, that's a little bit above 500 in their last 10. But 10-2 on the road for the Canucks. So if they can get on the road, 3-5-3 at home. So, wow, they are much better on the road. And the Kings, a nice surprise as well. Winners of 3 in a row. We weren't sure what we were going to get from them. Maybe looking at regression. But there they are, Vegas. I mean, we figured they lost everyone. But here they are sitting on top of the Pacific here with 33 points. But, yes, a log jam. And if any of these teams can just get going, even Calgary, who right now is sitting in the 5th spot in that division, just 5 points back.
And you know what, Steve? I'd venture to say that I think we would all love to see that. Let's see a Pacific race that we haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I have a feeling these teams are going to beat each other up. I'm wondering how they're going to hold up to the Central teams here, the top dogs in the Central come playoff time, after they kind of batter each other out here through the next few months before the playoffs.
All right, let me ask you this real quick, and then we'll get into the menu. We're seeing very good teams in the Atlantic, the Metro, and the Central, and not saying that the Pacific teams are bad. But, Steve, which one of these teams would you think has the best shot coming out of the Pacific in the playoffs?
I mean,
at this point in time,
yeah,
we're a long way from that.
I mean, you got to figure Edmonton still. I mean, they're going to get right. They're going to get better as they go. Can they just shore things up on the back end a little bit? They've given up 73 goals, which, isn't the worst, but isn't the best either. And you'd like to see their scoring get up. I mean, that's what they're lacking right now. if they can just kind of get on the offensive run, kind of like the Capitals are. I mean, they have 29 goals less than the Capitals. Would you have thought that about Edmonton right now, behind
Not
the
at
Capitals
all.
at this point in the season? So that's what they're missing. McDavid, we get it. He was injured for a bit. I expect the scoring to probably go up here for Edmonton, and I would think by the end of the day they'll find themselves in here in first place.
All right, let's get into the slate here.
Do you want to look at the injuries real quick?
Yeah. Let's get a quick injury report.
Yeah. So just so you guys know going forward what you're dealing with when you want to play these games. The injuries are starting to pile up here. Anaheim's a banged up team. Boston's okay. Buffalo okay. Calgary okay. Carolina seemingly will be okay. They get Kachikov back after his concussion. They'll be better for them. Chicago's okay. But Colorado now, they were healthy. Here they are. They're super banged up again. So beware of that. Columbus okay. Tyler Seguin, Dallas will look to get him back here in the upcoming weeks. Detroit, couple of injuries for them. Cam Talbot, Petrie, Patrick Kane, Alex Lyon. Should get these guys back sooner than later. Edmonton, they'll get Hyman back. That will help them out. Arvidsson as well. The Kings are a pretty banged up team right now, so be aware of that. The Wild okay, Montreal's okay, Nashville's okay. New Jersey, they have a handful of injuries, but they'll get these guys back. But Thomas Tatar's on there, Curtis Lazar, Nathan Bastian. The Islanders still with a decent amount of injuries here. Most of these guys should be back sooner than later, but they'll need Barzell, Riley, Anthony Duclair. Those are key players for them. Rangers are healthy. Ottawa's healthy. Philadelphia, a trio of injuries. Pittsburgh is fine. San Jose is fine. Seattle is fine. St. Louis is fine. Tampa Bay is fine, except Kucherov is day-to-day right now. Toronto, impressive they're able to put the streak together because they were pretty banged up last week, and here they are again. I mean, Max Domi is on this injury report. Max Pacioretty as well. They should get most of their players back, though, here in December or early December. Utah, a handful of injuries. Vancouver as well. Vegas as well. And we might get Ovechkin as well, being out probably until January sometime. Winnipeg, just a pair of injuries. So really your most banged up teams are Toronto, still Colorado, still the Islanders, still the Kings. You can add to that list. So injuries mounting from the last couple of weeks when we've done this report.
Yeah, absolutely. And good point there with Ovi. We actually have some good news on that front. He did take a couple of laps on a skate there in practice before the boys got out there and practiced this afternoon. I saw him skating around, so he's taking strides and trying to get back as soon as he can.
All right, good.
All right, let's get into it. We have an important matchup here in the Metro we'll start things off with on our list of 3 games tonight. New Jersey is in New York to take on the Rangers. Your over-under is 6.5. Minus 122 for the Devils. Plus 102 at home for the Rangers. That's probably about right. Rangers have seen some struggles here as of late. I would take an over here. Your goalie matchup is Igor Shesterkin and Jacob Markstrom. So the 2 starters in net for each team here tonight. So, you know, we just said about the over. 6.5 may be a bit much with these 2 goaltenders in the net tonight, but they are certainly capable of it. Steve, I would probably take a 60-minute line New Jersey play at plus 130 tonight. Like I said, the Rangers, I don't know if they're having chemistry problems or what exactly is going on there in New York, but it's just not the same product that we're used to seeing from them in the last couple of years. So what are your thoughts here with this one tonight?
I mean, I think you said it. I agree with everything that you just said. Teams will slump. They'll, you can't be perfect all the time. You got to figure the Rangers are just kind of down in the dumps a little bit here. They'll have to get out of it before I start to play them again. I don't expect them to be perennial on the perennial losing streak here and really fall apart. I mean, they're going to be a good, solid playoff contender here at the end of the day. But in present time's sake, I mean, how do you not maybe take New Jersey in this game? I will probably pass on this at the end of the day, but it would be New Jersey for me or nothing. The Devils are 10-4 on the road here, and this game is at MSG with a 7 p.m. Eastern puck drop. And I think it's lined right. I mean, it's basically a coin flip game overall, but you are getting a nice price on the Devils, minus 1.5. I mean, that's almost 2-1 I see on my book. So I expect this to be fierce. You might see a fight or two in this one as well. But I'll probably avoid this. But I think a decent hockey game, if you need to, if you watch too much football and college basketball and want to get in the hockey mood here, this is a good game to watch on a Monday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And the minus 1.5, 2-1 over here as well. So maybe worth a shot. All right, next game up, Steve. Chicago is taking on Toronto. This one is in Toronto. Your over-under here is 6 plus 340 for the Blackhawks, minus 440 for the Toronto Maple Leafs on the money line. Goaltender matchup is going to be Arvid Soderblom versus Anthony Stolarz. And, Steve, this just has to probably be a Toronto play or nothing. I'm probably going to stay away from it. The Chicago team goals have bit me before. Just seems like they don't score as many as they should. And you're probably going to have a tough time finding a good price with a team like Toronto that is so overmatched against the Blackhawks. So probably a pass here. But it would have to be Toronto or nothing, correct?
Yeah, and the Toronto injuries are concerning a little bit, but you got to think they're going to win this game. Losers of 2 in a row are the Blackhawks. You said it. They give you nothing offensively. And they've scored just 61 goals on the season, so that's among the league's worst. They're right there with Nashville, St. Louis, teams who can't put the puck in the back of the net. So overall, I don't want nothing to do with Chicago here. Toronto, maybe take a look at their team goals. Do we have it? Is it a 4.5 or is it at 3.5? Would be my question. Let me take a look at it. Over 3.5 is minus 158. Yeah. I mean, it's heavily juiced, but I think that's your better option at the end of the day than taking a minus 440 or even a puck line on them here. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to lay a puck line minus 1.5 when you still got to lay minus 154. I'd rather them just get the 4 goals and coast at home. I would not be shocked if this is a 4-0 victory.
Yeah, and I that's why I would leave the over under alone as well. I just don't think the Blackhawks will get there.
Right.
All right, last game up. Dallas is in Utah to take on the Utah Hockey Club. Your over-under here is 6.5, minus 125 for the Stars on the money line. Utah, a nice plus 105. Your goaltender matchup tonight is going to be Velmeka versus Casey DeSmith. Steve, Dallas played last night. You would think that would trend them towards a underplay here. I think under 6.5 with the Utah Hockey Club is probably fair. Maybe Dallas being a little bit tired, but still, I think the better team at the end of the day. Why does this game just say that it's going to be 3-2 or something like that? Dallas is plus 120 on the 60-minute line, place we like to gravitate to if you want Utah to take advantage of Dallas playing last night, plus 160 for them. I think and I don't usually like to do it, but I think there are reasons why in this one tonight that we can give the under 6.5 a try at minus 118. Steve, what are your thoughts here with this matchup?
Well, Dallas off the back-to-back. I mean, they'll go to goalie number 2 here, and they will play in altitude. So I think fitness is going to be big here for a team that's generally older, right? And Utah is an energetic, young, fun team. You're going out on a limb here, and I hate to get in front of a freight train, but I would at least look at Utah perhaps here to win this game. Over 2.5 goals and minus 160. I would actually trust that. I don't like the juice on it. But I think Utah can come away with a win here. I won't play it. But Dallas, like you said, back-to-back, goalie number 2. They haven't been good on the road. They're up in altitude. The obvious public play is probably to take Dallas because they're the known entity here. But Utah, I think, can come away with the win here tonight.
Oh, interesting. Okay, very nice, Steve. Very nice. Let's get to a little bit of futures action real quick. We'll pick a penalty box candidate, a goal scorer, and then we will get on out of here. So team futures, we'll touch base on the conference real quick. Here's going to be your top 6. Florida Panthers, 4-1. Hurricanes, 4-1. Rangers, 5-1. Toronto Maple Leafs, plus 550. The New Jersey Devils, 7-1. And Tampa in the top 6 at 9-1. But there's the Caps still at 20. And, they lead the Metro. And man, do they look like certainly a better team than maybe Tampa Bay and even Toronto right now.
You know what? I mean, the Caps, you're getting a nice number still to win the Eastern Conference. So I would jump on that now if you like them. And if you want to parlay them with someone like Winnipeg, for instance, I mean, $10 will still get you 2,200. If you take them with Minnesota, $10 will get you almost 3,000. So there's some bets to be had here with Washington in the futures market with a couple of the teams here in the Western Conference, I think.
Absolutely. All right, into the West real quick, your top 6. Edmonton, still the favorite, plus 370. Dallas, 4-1. The Avalanche, 6-1. Then you have Winnipeg at 7-1. Canucks at 9-1. And Vegas at 9-1, with the Minnesota Wild leading the Central at 10-1. Steve, I love the Wild and Capitals parlay. Just giving that a ride. I mean, 10-1 and 20-1 respectively for those two is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. I mean, you're only tying up $5 or $10 for a nice payout here. So get the getting while the getting's good, as they say.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right, Steve, who is in the penalty box tonight?
Let's see here. Let's cue up the referees.
And you're trying to switch 7 guys. Mike, come on.
You can't do that. That was probably number 10. 2 minutes broken.
I need you, Tampa, tripping.
All right. For me, let's see here. I will throw in the penalty box. Let me try to think of a good one here. I will go ahead and throw in. I mean, how do you not throw Nashville in there? Losers are 4 in a row, to be honest. I mean, I hate to state the obvious, but man, they are not doing well. So we'll throw them in there, and I'll give you a bonus one. We'll throw Calgary in there as well.
There you go, Steve. I'm going to go obvious kind of as well with the Blackhawks. You said it perfectly. They give you nothing offensively. Their games are just kind of, rather boring to watch, and they just don't give you anything at all. All right, Steve, we are almost out of here, but before we do, give me a goal scorer, and then I will give you one as well.
All right, so we have a limited slate here, and I'll go ahead and go to the game that we were talking about with Utah and Dallas. And I'm going to go ahead and give you Dylan Gunther at plus 210 to score a goal tonight.
Interesting. I like it. Steve, I'm going to go into the Toronto game, and I'm going to pick Matthew Nyes at plus 215 for them to get going tonight.
All right, Dave. Sounds good, man. Real quick, just let me just for you guys out there, I'll just mention a couple of the games tomorrow since we got a minute or two. But Florida's at Pittsburgh, Colorado and Buffalo, San Jose and Washington, Islanders, Canadians, Red Wings, Boston, Seattle, Carolina, Vancouver, Minnesota, good game, St. Louis, Winnipeg, Columbus at Calgary, and Edmonton at Vegas. So some obscure matchups on the slate tomorrow, Dave.
Yeah, Steve. I mean, there's going to be some opportunities tomorrow. I think I like a couple of the matchups, so we'll definitely be looking into that. So there will definitely be a couple things to keep your eye on. Capitals in action tomorrow night, 7 p.m. versus San Jose. That game is at home.
All right.
Well, that is going to do it for us, Steve. Appreciate you riding along, and hopefully we found you something just a little bit out of this short slate.
All right. Yep. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy the trio of games tonight, and we'll see you next Monday. Sunday morning, airing live, the round robin, your full NFL wagering breakdown, 7 a.m. Eastern on the Deep End Broadcasting Network. That is deependbroadcasting.com or the YouTube channel Deep End Lego Pool 757 Broadcasting. All right, Dave, have a good night.
All right, you as well.
What the puck is going